Hello and welcome to my Monday message. One big idea shared in around about 3 minutes. This week we're starting a short series about leadership and management, and we're going to start by talking about the vital role that leadership plays in the development of culture. Firstly, a quick definition. What even is culture? Well, at its simplest, culture can be defined as how do we behave around here? How do we talk to each other? How do we treat one another? What are the kind of behaviors that we would expect within this kind of culture? And to that extent, leadership plays a vital role. When you see something that is a cultural problem or is ascribed to being a cultural problem, what you're really seeing is usually a leadership problem. Because as leaders, we get what we demonstrate. In other words, if we walk our talk, that's what we can expect other people to do as well. We get what we celebrate because ultimately you get what you reward. But most importantly, you get what you tolerate. And John Amaechi, who is a fantastic coach who wrote books like The Promises of Giants, defines it thus. Your culture is defined by the lowest behavior that you tolerate. And I think there's a lot of profound insight in that. So let's talk about the way that we focus on things. So if you take our usual 2x2 grid and you take the vertical axis as being trust, and the horizontal axis as being process. If you've got something which is a low trust, low process environment, so something that's in the bottom left hand box here, that's what I call the law of the jungle. You've got you've got a low process environment, which means that everybody's just doing things on a free for all and they're doing things their own way, but it's also low trust, which means you've got a lot of backstabbing, a lot of self-interest that takes over. If you've got something which is in the top left-hand box, you've got something which is high trust but very low process, which means we've got what I would call the soft play area. This is something where everybody feels psychologically safe and they all get on with each other, but actually you're not really focusing on trying to deliver any outcomes, and you're not focusing on anything in particular. There's no real process, which means that it's a bit laissez-faire. It's, that things do happen, but they tend to happen on a whim and because everybody's just getting on with each other. Sounds very nice, but it's not really what you want for a business. Then you've got something which is over in the bottom right hand corner, and this is what I call the bureaucratic machine. And this is where everything's very, very process orientated, very transactional. And this is really where everything is about just doing things by the numbers. And so the computer says yes or the computer says no. But ultimately, it's all on a checklist. Everything is policy driven, everything's procedure driven, which means it takes all of the creative thought out of things. And also people tend not to trust each other because, frankly, people are just a cog in that bureaucratic machine. So ultimately, really where we all want to be, culturally speaking, is this top right-hand corner, which is what I call the peak of the mountain, because that is where you've got a high trust environment. Everybody feels psychologically safe. Everybody can perform very, very well because they also have process, which means they also have a way of doing things consistently in order to get predictable, consistent results, which is really the ultimate aim of being efficient and being effective. So hopefully that's helpful and insightful. I look forward to seeing you next week, and thank you as always for helping me to build this channel by liking and subscribing.